When the Xbox One originally launched in 2013, it was met with some backlash due to its clunky UI, online requirements, and overall emphasis on media that people weren't really interested at the time. They just simply wanted to play games. Now you go all the way to 2022, this system is being discontinued because it's been replaced with the Xbox Series consoles. However, there is still a fair number of games coming out compatible with the Xbox One, and while I made a video late last year complaining about how many of these newer games don't necessarily run very well in the system, and it almost seems like they shouldn't have been released on this 2013 hardware anyhow, this system is still an absolute budget beast when you consider what you're able to get for the money, as oftentimes the fat VHS style, as some call it, black Xbox One is selling for around $150 on eBay. You can probably find them even cheaper if you looked locally, like say Facebook Marketplace. When you're buying one of these though, you do want to keep in mind that you're going to need a controller. That's not always bundled in, and you're definitely going to need the power brick, which isn't always bundled in either, and can run you like $30, $40 if you don't get one bundled in. So I don't recommend trying to buy the power brick separately. Just get the power brick included, and obviously the HDMI you can pick up later on yourself. But if you're someone that wants to have a second console, you want to have a console for your child, or you've never owned an Xbox console before, this is a fantastic one to pick up for the price. Though I will preface this by saying if you have the opportunity to spend $300 on a new Xbox Series S, not only is that a newer console that'll last longer into the future, it is twice the price for $150 more, but does deliver an exceptional gaming experience for that price. So if you're not getting this for a younger child, or you're just looking to get your toes into the Microsoft ecosystem a little bit, I do recommend taking that extra step and getting the Series S. But for $150, I don't think there's any piece of tech that can rival what the Xbox One can deliver. What you have here is the capability to play games that obviously are not playable on a $150 phone or computer, because they are going to be much higher end, even though this is an older system. I'm talking you can play things like Fortnite, you can play Roblox, you can play Call of Duty Warzone, Halo Infinite, which is only going to be on the Microsoft platforms and Windows. Games that oftentimes kids are interested in playing, want to play, and will default to trying to play on PC because maybe they don't have a console, and they would just get a much better experience. I think parents would find it much more accessible to set them up with playing it on an Xbox One, especially when you consider the cost of the device that's being played on. Additionally, these free-to-play games, like I mentioned, Fortnite, Roblox, Halo Infinite, things like that, not only are they free to download and start playing for these kids or adults that are interested, you can play them without an Xbox Live Gold membership, which you typically need to play games online, but is now only required for games that you purchase. So these free-to-play games are finally truly free to play. So if your kid wants to play Rocket League, Fortnite, or whatever, not only can you download it for free on your $150 Xbox One, you can also play it online for free, assuming that you have internet access. Plus, now that the Xbox One came out darn near a decade ago, many of the disc games, which the 2013 model can play because it has a disc drive unlike the Series S, these disc games are very inexpensive now at GameStop, with just a ton of games being available for under $20. And while the online multiplayer aspects of these games may not be very active anymore because of the age of the game, many of the games have great single-player content that you can delve into. And then of course Game Pass is a big selling point for Xbox as a whole. Basically you pay a monthly subscription of, I believe it's $15 if you're paying full price, but oftentimes you can get it discounted to some extent for at least a period of time. So say $50 a month at most to be able to play just hundreds of games through their service in a sort of Netflix-like style. I will say that if you're willing to pay $15 a month for a game subscription like this, you're probably going to be playing enough games where I would highly recommend you get the Series S instead of getting the Xbox One, just because then you're not going to be taking advantage of the disk drive that the Xbox One has and the cheap used games that are available. And I just feel like if you're willing to pay that much money per month, you should be willing to spend the extra $150 and get yourself a Series S. So not necessarily a super budget option, but something that is available. And then the last thing that's worth mentioning is just the overall media experience of the Xbox One. Again, this was a big selling point for the system back when it was launching, and it wasn't taken very well. People didn't enjoy that aspect of it. But now, with so many media apps available on the Xbox One, it really is a great streaming device still in 2022 because it has all of those current subscription, streaming apps that you want to have, just beyond, even Netflix and Hulu, which I know are still available available on the 360, which are crazy, but the 360 doesn't have things like Peacock, HBO Max. Those type of services are going to be available on the Xbox One, in addition to the fact that people do still watch a fair amount of Blu-ray discs. At least I tend to think so. And this is a great Blu-ray player. Sure, you gotta download a separate app to be able to play the Blu-rays. I thought it was crazy that it wasn't integrated right off the bat. But regardless, the fact that this is a Blu-ray player in itself really adds to the value that you're getting for that $150 price tag when you pick one of these things up used. And if it doesn't come with a controller, maybe you can only get the power brick. Know that you can, yes, get a wired Xbox One controller for something like $20, but if you were willing to spend, $50, $60 and get a true Xbox branded wireless controller, I think you'll overall have a better time. But on a tight budget, there are like, say, $20 controller options. It's just not something that I would recommend. So I think for the price point that you're working with here, the Xbox One is a phenomenal value still in 2022. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Bailey, and I will see you in the next video.